name is Amanda. Welcome to my channel. I know that I am crazy because I read 26 books this month. It didn't help that, there was a long trip all the way to Florida and then the long trip back. And during that time, I read 6 books. But either way, I read a ton of books. So I want to talk about some of them, the good, the bad, and the ugly. These are books that were my lowest ratings for the month, and I do have some 1 stars, let me tell you. And then my 5-star reads, or whatever the highest star is of the month. So I'm going to just go ahead and start with the 1-star reads. The first one I got from NetGalley, and it is called When the Flood Falls. It is the first book in the Fall Mystery series by J.E. Barnard. And let me tell you, I have no idea what that book is about. I gave it 1 star. I read it. I don't know. I have no idea what I read. I'm confused. I know like one plot, but there was just so many things going on, and it did not flow right. It was confusing, and I was just like, oh my goodness, I just want to get this book done. I just want to get done. It was not good. That was a big solid mess for me. The next book that I got was also a 1-star book, and this I also received from NetGalley. It's The Changeling Murders, The Thief Taker number 4 by C.S. Quinn. And it starts with this woman that is going to go and get married, and then the driver goes ahead and picks her up and says that her ex wants to see her, and then you find out that the Lord and Lady is missing, so you think you're looking for people, and it just ends up being very kind of just what? It made sense. It was just stupid. That's the nicest way I could put it. It was just stupid. But I did end up reading it all. I tend to read all of the books that I review here on my channel. I try my best to read them 100%. So I did read this one 100%, and it was just okay. I would not read this author again or anything in that series. Just no. No, it's just not for me. Now, on to the 5-star books. There has been a lot this month of 5-star books. The first one I want to talk about is The Lucky Ones by Tiffany Reis, Reissz. This is part of the book of the month from Books and Smiles Goodreads group, Deadly Divas, and I gave this 5 stars, and it was so good. And I talked to my friend Brandy about it. We're book buddies and Project Pan buddies, so we talk all the time. And she was reading it as well, and I finally finished it on audio, and I said, this book made me question everything. I'm not going to give any spoilers away, but at the end, I was like, yes, that is awesome. But that should not be awesome. That should not. Man, I'm like Brandy on this one. I used excuses for all of the characters the whole entire time. And it was 5 stars, and I was okay with it. It didn't make any sense. I loved the book. I can't help it. I love the book. I loved it. And it was about this doctor who went ahead and took in children that were troubled or didn't have a home or whatever. And this girl, Allison, she was there for 4 years. And before she left, somebody called her aunt that she did not know and told her that her life is being threatened. And soon after, she was thrown down the stairs, and so she ended up having to move in with her aunt, and there was a boy there that she had a crush on. Well, years later, she finds out that her dad, the one who raised her in those 4 years, was dying, and so she went back. And it uncovers all kinds of secrets and deceptions and lies. Oh, the lies, let me tell you. And I really thoroughly enjoyed it. So if you're into that kind of thing, definitely check that out. It is a love story too. And yeah, definitely was something that grabbed me from the very first page, and not something that I would normally read. I love romance novels, but not this style, so I'm glad that I read it. The next book is called The Mirror and the Mountain, An Adventure in Pressedia, and that is by Luke Aylen, Aylen. This was a 5-star read for me. I got this off of NetGalley. It is very much a children's book, and it's very reminiscent to The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, in the way that these children, they decide, they're 11 years old, they decide to go ahead and go underneath the church and explore while the adults are doing adult things. And they end up running into, at different points for each of them, this mirror, and this mirror ends up taking them to another area, another dimension, another world, like in Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And so now whenever they go there, they see all of these dwarfs, and they realize that there is a king missing, and everybody wants to find the king. So with the help of a dragon, with a dwarf, and with the queen elf, these two kids, and they go ahead and just venture off to find this king, and you learn so much. I think that this is just a great learning experience for children to persevere even whenever the odds are against you, and not give up. I loved it even if it was a children's book. The next book is The Pageant. It's part of the Vampire Royal series. It is the first one, and it is by Lee Walker. I loved this. I'm such a geek for vampire books and of that nature, so really I'm not that picky about books at all. You'll find that I'm not. I'm the same way with movies. But again, another 5-star read for me. It's about this pageant, obviously, because it's called The Pageant. Well, the royalty there wants to go ahead and hold a pageant, and the winner goes ahead, very much like The Bachelor. Let's just say that. It's like The Bachelor. And then whoever wins gets to be engaged and gets married to the prince. The big thing is that the prince is a vampire along with his family. So these girls that are chosen to go ahead and participate into the pageant, they don't have a choice. They are actually forced to be a part of this, and it's really good. It sounds a whole lot better than how I'm explaining it, but I loved it. It was such a fun read. In fact, I plan on reading the other ones, and I got it for my Kindle with Kindle Unlimited. So I can't wait to go ahead and read that. Next book, in fact, I'm just going to say this. These books are all from NetGalley unless I say otherwise, because there's a lot. This next one is called Phases of the Moon by Joseph Bastian. Again, 5-star read. This kid goes ahead and visits his grandpa every single day after school. And he realizes whenever he goes to see him, there's just a note, and it said grandfather right on this piece of paper that's on the floor. And he thought that was so weird, and he can't find his grandpa anywhere. And he thought it was strange because he never calls his grandfather. He always calls him Paps. So he goes home and he tells his parents that Paps is missing. And they said, oh, just don't worry about it. If he's still missing tomorrow, then we'll go ahead and we'll call the police and we'll deal with it then. And just in the meantime, stay away, don't go back, whatever. You think he's going to listen? Of course he's not going to listen. So after school, him and his best friend goes back to his Pap's house. And he's still not there. And they put their heads together and they realize that he meant the grandfather clock. And they end up going into the grandfather clock. Very much, again, like Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. They go through a different dimension where they find out that his grandfather is a storyteller. Now, every single day after school, the grandfather always goes ahead and tells the kids stories. So that makes a lot of sense. And it talks about how words have power and you have to continue on telling stories. And then if you don't tell stories, if these storytellers stop, then these shadow things are going to gain control. And that is what they want. They want control. So the only thing to keep the shadow things away is to tell a story. So I really, really enjoyed this book, and I think you guys would definitely enjoy it, especially for your children. I'm not ashamed to read children's books, by the way. I'm just saying. The next one I actually got off of Scribd. I listened to this on audio, and it is called Forgive Me, Leonard Peacock, and it is by Matthew Quick. I loved this. I never heard anything about this book, and it just piqued my interest. It's about this guy who wants to go ahead and follow people around and find out if people are happy, because they walk around looking depressed. It doesn't matter what age they are. They don't seem to have a purpose, whether it's going to work or after work or anything. And he wants to find purpose. He wants to find one reason to stay alive. He is on the verge of wanting to kill himself. He just really wants to kill himself, and the only thing that really kind of keeps him going is a boy who plays an instrument, and he goes and he listens to him every day during school, during his practice. So it's a really good, thought-provoking book, and I just really loved the ending of it. And I don't think that it would even matter how you read it. It was just fantastic. I really loved it on audio. The next one I know is a bit controversial, because it goes from either people love it or they absolutely hate it, and that is Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I personally loved it. It's about a girl that has such anxiety she cannot kiss a boy. This is how bad that it cripples this woman, and I understand so much how anxiety goes ahead and cripples someone. So I get it. I completely get it. And so you follow her and this boy and how she goes ahead and she deals with her anxiety. And yeah, it's a really, really good one. So don't be afraid of it. Definitely read it. It's good, I promise. And the last book is The Torment of Rachel Ames, and this is by Jeff Gunhus, Gunhus, and 5-star read for me. The best way that I could go ahead and describe it is this woman, she has writer's block, and so she goes to this cabin, and whenever she goes to this cabin, weird things starts to happen, and you think you've got it, and you don't. It leaves you on the edge of your seat about who these people are and what they're doing and why the weird things are happening. Literally at the edge of your seat. So that is the good, the bad, and the ugly of the month of June. Be sure to go ahead and like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in July for more movies. Not movies, books. Books and panning and things. So I will see you guys later. Bye!